Well, first of all, I would like to thank all of you, the CEO, as well the board and executives for attending this important presentation, which gives detailed information in implementing BYOD in our company. BYOD is a new technology program stand for Bring Your Own Device, which started to expand all over the world. Therefore, it was very important for me to identify and adopt such new technologies and IT systems that can be enhanced and facilitate the working of our organization since I am the CIO of the company. Therefore, I'll be very happy to explain many issues which needs to be considered such as policies, new investment to be made, as well showing the business plan and sensitivity analysis, hoping that it will convince enough all of you to gain the support from the management. And that is what I'm going to focus on the coming slides. Well, this slide basically describes the agenda of the presentation. The presentation has been structured in a specific way, and that is what is explained in this slide. It gives the outline of how the presentation is going to proceed. The agenda will cover purpose of the presentation, introduction and some background, associated risks, experience of other companies using BYOD, advantages and disadvantages, the infrastructure which is required, as well what best practice can be for this technology. One of the most important topic to be covered is the financial modeling, which covers its assumptions and result following with its sensitivity analysis. The conclusion and my strongly recommendation as well the lesson learned from this project. Finally, the references which helped me a lot in doing this research. Moving to the next slide, which gives the purpose of the presentation. It's nothing but the objectives that define the reasons why the presentation has been made and the reason why it's being presented in front of the board of directors. The main aim is to demonstrate the feasibility of adopting the BYOD project for the company by theoretical as well as the financial means. The first purpose of making this presentation is to make people understand what BYOD is and how it helps company functionally and financially. Let's give you some background and introduction of BYOD. The idea of implementing BYOD has been originated from some basic facts that demonstrate that BYOD is widely used and has helped employees and companies in enhancing productivity. The research shows that almost 75% of the employees are using BYOD, and that is very good percentage. 2001 was the year that can be considered as the real starting time of the concept. So that's almost 2 years ago. This took almost 6 to 7 years for the concept to be realized from theory to practice. This means that the employee are satisfied with the flexibility of bringing their own devices. The chapter also presents an introduction to BYOD. The concept of BYOD is a special process wherein employees of an organization make use of their own smartphones, tablets, and other devices for doing all the work. The concept has been already implemented by several IT companies in different countries and has the potential of being used in all forms of organizations such schools, educational organizations, medical centers, and so on. That's why it's being one of the fastest technologies in the century 21st. This chapter discusses the associated risks, which highlights some of the major risks that are associated with the use and implementation of BYOD in any organization. Most of these are technological and security risks, which have already been observed in several organizations. But what matters in the trade-off between the benefits and risks? As we can see, the security risks to employers' data is there, which means that there is a possibility for a device lose. Legal risks needs an application security. Jailbreaking is real risk because when the device which has been jailbroken connects to the network, it will put the organization at risk. There can be an easily devised data leakage. Therefore, this can be avoided by blocking access to jailbroken devices. Another risk is the high viruses and other software malware, and this can be eliminated or reduced by installing malware attacks. Finally, lack of encryption is one of the risks which must be aware of because of the device theft. The slide demonstrates the experience of other companies, such as IBM and Cisco, to prove that the concept is not just theory, but even in reality. The concept has helped organizations in increasing productivity, and companies like Apple, which have also provided and developed technologies in its devices to support the concept. Lots, lots of companies and organizations are using BYOD concept, especially in US and UK. For example, Cisco boasts of a 13% increase in the productivity of its employees, and that's all because of implementing BYOD. Also, the research results shown that IBM has increases in its cost saving, even though facing some security issues. There are also many other companies which use BYOD in their organizations, as well having large experience in implementing this technology, such as Intel and Acronix. Moving to the next slide, which clarifies the various advantages and disadvantages of the BYOD concept. It's really important to understand the benefits and cons of any concept before using it. Some of the benefits include higher mobility, better flexibility. This will result in higher employee satisfaction. Higher productivity can be gained after implementing BYOD since it can be one of the most significant to attract staff with the necessary skills and experience. A good advantage will also be the reduction of the company cost. And I have mentioned before how IBM has increased in its cost saving, even though facing security issues. Some more other benefits, such as better care of devices by employee and new technology adoption. However, the disadvantages include an increase in security concerns regarding the data. An important cons which needs to take care of is the higher chances of fraudulent activities, especially it's connected through the network. It's truth that this program will cost a lot in its setup and installation, but it will give an output of very good earning profit in the future. Moreover, there will be a complicated task for IT department. Therefore, a people with experience should work in this concept. Otherwise, training the IT staff is important. Other disadvantages will be the privacy concerns as well the loss of data. This slide gives the infrastructure required to complete BYOD, which is essential for implementing BYOD. In short term, things that are required to make BYOD successful. There is a set of technologies such as mobile device management system which needs to be installed, network device to connect the devices to the server, as well generating a platform for the devices to be used. Better security systems and provision of connection facilitate the connect to the server. Finally, it's important to have the facility of cloud computing since it's something which is most of our use every day. In addition to fulfilling the technology's requirements, there are some general practices that support the implementation of BYOD. This slide presents some practices that must be followed by a company to make sure that the concept is successful in the organization. There should be a development of strong policies with clear guidelines. These policies must cover all the aspects of BYOD, including data security and data management. It's important to keep the network and IT system easy to use, which will help a lot in success of the program. We should also put in mind that training and maximum support must be provided because the companies might develop technologies but might not provide training to employees, which would of course lead to concept failure. As well, continue monitoring of any activities and employees' action with provision of complete IT support are methods of making sure a best practice for the concept. Therefore, the company must make sure that these practices are implemented well. The graph in this slide show what are we doing to minimize the risks with and without using bring your own device. The green column indicates minimizing risk while using BYOD and the blue indicated without using BYOD. In this slide, I will briefly explain the financial modeling, which presents the assumptions made for determining the cost and financial feasibility of implementing BYOD for our organization. Sorry. Looking at the strength of employees and rate of new hires, we decide on a figure of 2,000 employees, and that's how the modeling was done accordingly. There will be a saving of $1,600 per employee, and this can come from better revenues due to higher productivity. The company should also consider maintenance cost for the software, which can be figured by assuming the maintenance for each employee. Here the annual cost is almost $200. Other costs also must put in mind to get an excellent assumption for financial modeling, such as IT staff cost per employee. Of course, there should be an expectation of a cost increase in each project. The expectation of an implementation BYOD is 10%, and that is due to inflation. Reaching to this slide, which presents one of the most important data to decide whether the implement be whether I'm sorry to decide whether to implement BYOD in our organization or not, depending on the result found for the business plan. Therefore, a major result of the financial modeling has been carried out with different situations based on the assumption discussed earlier and the costs that have been accumulated from the market and other companies. The MBV, IRR, and the profitability index are calculated to determine if the project is feasible or not. This table identifies the result of the financial modeling for the period of 5 years, and as you can see that for a buyback period of 5 years, it results in a positive NBV, which works well with this business case. The IRR clearly states the relation of the profitability stages and result of giving 3.2%. The profitability index shows minus 18 and it comes positive with increase in initial investments or increment in saving per employees. We can also discuss the changes that would be observed in case of changes taking place in some factors affecting the overall financial of the project. And this slide gives a good sensitivity analysis. As you can see, there are three specific scenarios of consideration which examine the impact of the critical cost and benefit variables of the program. The first scenario shows an initial investment increase by 20%, while scenario 2 stated this, the saving increased by 15%. The third scenario clarifies the initial investment decreased by 10%. As factor changed in the three scenarios, the MBV remains positive in increased situation. The positive increase in figures also applied for the profitability index, and the IRR shows a decrease in result for the first scenario, as well slightly decrease in scenario 3, while it gives significant increase in scenario 2, and that is because of the buyback period of 1 year, as well the saving increase scenario by 15%. This slide presents the conclusion and recommendation of the whole program. It has been recommended that the project should be applied because of its positive MPV and its ability to increase productivity and higher cost saving. Moreover, it will lead to improvements in the operational and financial, as it has been clearly explained in the sensitivity analysis. especially that it is one of the fastest growing technological phenomena. Therefore, and based on what has been explained, it's recommended that every company must determine the feasibility of adopting bring your own device. And now let's summarize the lessons that have been learned from the study that have been carried out to understand the concept, and we can summarize the lessons as the following. BYOD is essential for matching the requirements of developing technologies. Despite of high initial cost and training requirements for bring your own device will help in the increasing productivity. The concept has helped companies increase productivity and reduce costs in long term. Technologies to support the concept have already been developed. BYOD can provide significant saving in despite of security risks. The buyback period of the project is 5 years. The NPV of project remains positive under different scenarios. Two important factors affecting the feasibility of the project. The first one is the initial investment in technology and setup. The second one is saving received per employee from the implementation of the project. Finally, different references have been used to gather different information, and this is the list of it. Last but not least, I would like to thank all of you for attending this important presentation of a new technology which started expand all over the world, hoping that it convince you to gain the maximum support from the management in getting the approval of doing bring your own device in our company due to its importance.